Okay. In the last session, we completed these setups, right? These list of setups we completed. We have seen how to create the supplier. To create the supplier, which roles are required, the user required, which privileges, which user can create the supplier. Also, those points we discussed. The user should be an employee user, and other side, the user should be converted as a procurement agent. For the same user, if you provide the role called as supplier manager, that user will be able to create the supplier definition. Done. Now we'll see the same process, how we can execute through FBDI templates. The supplier creation, supplier definition, how we can do by using the FBDI process, which we call as supplier conversion, vendor master data conversion. So we tested item master conversion also as a part of inventory. The similar process we can follow when we deal with the supplier conversion. Not only for supplier conversion, any conversion we have to follow the same process. Only we have to choose the respective templates to prepare relevant data. So when we talk about supplier creation, first we created profile. The next step is address we created. Third step is site we created, and fourth step is the site we assigned to specific business unit. So we can assign one site to multiple business units, but to perform that we have to make sure that the procurement agent is acting as agent for the multiple business units. Those points we discussed in the yesterday's session. Now if you want to load the vendor master data into system, what we have to do is we have a different templates. One is supplier template and supplier addresses, supplier sites, supplier site assignments, and we have other templates for contacts and other information also. That also will test. Now this would be the basic definition for supplier creation. Okay, however we create it through manual process. So to create the supplier in the same manner, we'll go with this template based data loading process. Fine. So we know the process very well, how to deal with this. First, what we have to do, we have to download templates from Oracle OER. We have to prepare the templates with the data. Prepare data templates, convert to CSV files, place CSV files in UCM, or else you can ignore this process. Okay, it's optional process, and you can populate data in interface tables. Once data is available in interface tables, the same data you can populate in the base tables. Base tables. So this is a process we are going to follow. This is not a mandatory step. If you place the CSV file in the UCM, that means you are placing the file in the instance. Say for example, you may prepare all these templates, you may place in the UCM, someone else can execute the rest of two steps. If you are not going to place in the UCM, you have to, who has the templates in their machine, that user only will be able to execute these steps. Only the difference is, if you place in the UCM, the files if you place in the UCM, Who has access to the instance, all will be able to access those files since those are there within the instance. If you don't place those files in the UCM, who has those files with them, those user only will be able to execute these two steps. That is only the difference. Other than that, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, fine. So already we have seen the UCM process, how to place the files in the UCM in case of item master conversion. So to execute this process, we'll see with one or two templates with the UCM and other template data loading without UCM also. Fine. First, what we have to do, we have to download the templates from Oracle OER. Okay, we'll just go and download first. So Oracle OER, Oracle Enterprise Repository for Oracle Fusion applications. The URL would be, there is subdomain they given, fusion apps oer.oracle.com. Directly you can type if you want. Done. So when I talk about suppliers, okay, suppliers ideally we deal within the purchasing, and the group of applications where we use a supplier or procurement process all falls under procurement offering. So within the procurement we have purchasing application and many other applications. So that templates also you can find within the procurement offering only. So to download the supplier templates, go to procurement section. Fine. Which version we are using? Release 13. Click on that version hyperlink. So here you can go with use hyperlink. Just click on use hyperlink, and here you can find the template hyperlink. Get started with file based data import FBDI process. Just click on this hyperlink. It will list out all the templates which are available for procurement. Here you could see. Fine. Now we'll just go with the basic templates for supplier definition. So here suppliers. So I'm just right clicking on this hyperlink. I'll say open link in new tab. I'm opening the separate tab, supplier related template page. After suppliers, we need supplier addresses. Right click, say open link in new tab. After addresses, we need sites, supplier sites. Right click, say open in new tab, and supplier site assignments. Right click, say open in new tab. So if you want to load the supplier contacts and as a part of core procurement like service catalogs, product related information also you can load, the process remains same. First let's deal with this primary data which is required for basic supplier definition. So this is supplier template related information. Okay, so suppliers, when you are loading this file into the system, we have to place in the UCM. This is a UCM account where we have to place this file. Without placing this supplier data file within this account also, we can execute this process. If you want to place in the UCM, this is the account we have to use. PRC means procurement supplier import. Within this UCM account, we have to place the supplier file. Supplier file is nothing but supplier profile, or call it as supplier header file. And by following this link you can download that template that already we discussed in case of item master within the inventory, and this is job we have to use. And once you place this file in the UCM, whenever you execute the step called as populate data in interface tables, that supplier profile or supplier header information will get stored in this interface table. Within this interface table, the data would get populated. You can click on this interface table name and you can see all the columns within this. Okay, it shows the information very similar to technical reference manual. If you click on POJ purchasing supplier INT, talks about this table. Okay, this table, this is belongs to which is table space. Okay, table space is interface related table. Schema is fusion schema. Object owner, object type, it is table not view. Out of that, which is a primary key, and what are the other columns are available, and what are those characteristics of that each and every column. So complete information you can find here. Okay, fine. Then now we'll download the template. First we'll download those 4 templates: supplier template, supplier addresses template, supplier sites, and supplier site assignments template. Fine. How to download the template? Directly if you click on that hyperlink, it won't download anything. You have to right click and say save link as. Just click on save link as. And let's create separate folder. This will verify. So we have one folder for this item FBDI. Let's name it as ERP3 FBDI templates. We'll save the template into this folder. Save it. The next template is supplier addresses. So if you want to place this supplier addresses template with the data, means once we convert the template as a CSV file, the same account we have to use PRC supplier import, and here import supplier addresses. This is the job we have to use to populate the data interface. This is the interface table name where this addresses information will get stored. Fine. Now let's download this template. Right click, say save link as. Save into the same folder. The next template is supplier sites. The same account and job is different based on the data. Import supplier sites. Again interface table also different. Let's download it. Right click, say save link as. Save it. Supplier site assignments. UCM account remains same. Job, import supplier site assignments. The interface table name also different. Download the template. Right click, say save link as. Save it. Done. So now we have to prepare these templates with the data.
Are we placing these files in UCM right now, Lakshman?
Yes, we will see the two processes, two options by placing and without placing also.
Now you placed without, right?
No, we didn't place, right? Just I placed in folder. Just folder. Right. Yeah. If you want to place in the UCM, those files should have a data and those need to be converted into CSV files. Okay. These are just sample files. Fine. We'll see that process also. For item related files, we'll move into this folder. So these two we use it for item conversion, right? Done. Fine. First, we'll prepare supplier header template or supplier profile template. This is the one. So open this. We know every template will have a sample data. In any template, whatever you download, you can find the sample data. So go to this tab, POJ suppliers int. So here you can find very limited columns. So there are many columns as a part of this template. So to see all the columns, click on show additional attributes. Click on show additional attributes so that it will show all the columns which are part of this template. Now you can see many columns within this template. By default system is hiding. So to open up those, we have to click on show additional attributes. Done. Now here we can find the multiple records which are sample records. So what we can do is, just for reference purpose, you can keep one record. The rest of all the records you can remove, delete. This is just for reference we are keeping in this sheet. Okay, done. So we can understand which field is mandatory and which is optional. So here the star mark indicates which field is mandatory, which field is optional. If you see the star mark, that means the field is mandatory. Batch ID field is optional, so you can remove it. Batch ID is not mandatory. Even system can generate the batch ID for the execution process. That is an optional field. And the next column within this template is import action. What we are going to do, we are going to create the supplier, or else we are going to update the supplier name for existing supplier. We have two options. You can create the supplier. Say for example you created 100 suppliers. Out of 100 supplier, for 10 supplier, some bulk suppliers, you want to rename. In that case also you can use the template. If you want to rename, you have to select update, then you have to give which supplier name you want to rename, with which name you want to rename, what is the new name you have to provide. That's how you can use this template to update existing supplier records also. Fine. Now anyway, we are going to create new supplier with this template. And supplier name, provide supplier name. We are just using some sample record, so we can enter. We want to create the supplier with which name. Let's name it as ERP3 FBDI supplier. Okay, FBDI supplier. And supplier number, we don't need to provide supplier number. Ideally, when you create the supplier within the system is automatically creating the supplier name. The same process is applicable when you load the supplier's data through this template. If you want to provide your the preferable number for the suppliers, which suppliers you are going to load from this template, yes, that is possible. If you give the supplier number, one system will use this number only. Okay, if already this number is available within instance, it takes as a duplication and all. But if you provide any number here, okay, that number only system will take. It will give the priority to the number which you have in the template. Otherwise you don't enter any number. As a part of system, we have a separate task, supplier numbering. By following that numbering only, system will trigger the number generation for this new supplier whenever you import this data into application. Right? Anyway, supplier number field is optional. You don't need to provide. Already supplier number generation setup already we completed, so that would be enough. So don't provide supplier number, not required. And tax organization type, reality we have seen how to create the supplier header part, right? The same is applicable. So let's go to that setup. By comparing, we can do it. Go to navigator, go to suppliers, Go to task list, say create supplier. So here we provide supplier name, business relationship, tax organization type. Okay, apart from this nothing will provide. Even if you provide these very basic fields as a default supplier profile definition, system will be adding lot of additional information by default. So now this template is equal to this step only. This template, whatever the data we are providing, that is equal to this step only. Here, once you provide data, once you say create, system will create the supplier profile definition. So that definition is equal to that definition you can do by using this spreadsheet. That's all. So tax organization type. Here tax organization type. So mandatory field here, but here they're given as optional. The reason you may use this template to update existing supplier record also. That is the reason. Even the action is create. Okay, it is showing as a optional, but reality if action type is create, it is a mandatory. We know. So without tax organization type, you cannot create the supplier. So this optional, this field they are showing as optional, where it is applicable in case of updating the existing supplier record. That's all. Okay, just notice that point. So tax organization type, let it be corporate. And supplier type, once you create this, once you provide these details and you click on create, it will create the supplier definition. There you can see supplier type, but the field is optional, you can ignore it. Okay, and business relationship. So here is a business relationship. So if you want to create any supplier to perform the transactions, the supplier business relationship should be spend authorized, not prospective. With the prospective supplier, you cannot perform any transactions. If you create supplier as a prospective, the next step would be converting prospective as spend authorized. Okay, that also will be testing how to convert prospective to authorized, spend authorized supplier. But for our this data record, let's go with the spend authorized as a business relationship. Done. And there are many other columns.
What is the meaning exactly, Lakshman? Those three?
Sorry, what is the?
Spend authorized, and there are two
See,
other
very,
options also,
very
right?
simple. Like when we talk about you deal with organizations where you are in the negotiation process with the many other terms and conditions, okay, or in sourcing process or in other process. So once all the terms and conditions are mutually agreed, then only you can accept that organization as your supplier. Okay, so to deal with that organization by treating that supplier with whom we not yet confirmed our relationship as a real supplier, where we can place orders or where we can start spending the money to take the services or to purchase the goods, we have to create them in our system as a spend authorized. Before that, we
Okay.
start purchasing anything from the supplier. Just have a plan of performing some sourcing related activities, some negotiations, etc., etc., some terms and conditions. In that case, to use this supplier in that process, some negotiation process and sourcing process and other areas where you don't perform real business transactions, you create that organization as a prospective. See, if you want to, if when we are dealing with someone, like when we are dealing with any organizations, so first in business point of view, you are going to deal with some organization, you treat all the always those are prospectives, right?
Yeah.
Prospective can be converted as your customer or supplier. If you are dealing with the supplier organization, you become prospective will become your supplier, or else the prospective may become your customer. It's all about what purpose you are dealing with them, right? To address the
Right.
relation and the stage of relationship, they given this parameter here. Okay, okay, that is the purpose. Done. So these other fields all are not mandatory. When we are creating supplier from here also, those three fields are mandatory. So once you create the supplier, you will be able to manage the values based on our requirement. The rest of values what you could see here, you can provide or else you can remove. So later you will be able to specify if those are required. Otherwise the given fields only mandatory. Already those we provided data for those fields. These all are additional fields which you can manage at supplier profile level, including DFF attributes. So they provided some additional data also, descriptive flex field data. We can remove it now, we don't require it. Just go through all the columns because we are taking sample record for reference purpose. Go through all the columns, verify all the columns. If you think the data is mandatory for us required, you can provide the relevant data, or else if you see some additional data you may remove it. Just we're trying to understand how to perform this conversion for supplier profile. Done. Okay, what details we given? The batch ID we removed since that is optional field. Okay, and again see, once you place the cursor over there, it gives that column related data type and description. Okay, so this is based on our application, the column, the properties as per our application interface table. Okay, import action we given as a create, then we given supplier name as ERP3 FBDI supplier, and tax organization type is corporate. Even you see the field as optional, you should provide since you are going to perform the action as import. And business relationship provide as a spend authorized, then only the software would be available to create the purchase orders or payable invoices. Okay, so that's all. Tax organization type are already be given corporate and done. That's all. Those are the three primary fields we have to provide. The rest of fields, yes, you can provide here, or else in this stage not mandatory. Anyway, system will default based on how Oracle programmed for supplier profile definition. So you may manage that information at any point of time. Done. We given. And here is that other sheet tab called as instructions under CSV generation. When you are dealing with this template, what points we should aware, you can go through this information at least one time so that that is applicable for all the FBDI templates. Okay, you may go through these details so that you'll have a better understanding about this. Fine. So now we are ready with this template with the required data. In the same way, for testing purpose, we are creating one supplier. You may just, reality will be having the bulk volume of the suppliers, right? All the suppliers data will just list out within this template itself. So this data will get from the business. We know that. We'll explain this template. Reality in case of EBS, for data conversion, what we do, we prepare the templates, but here we no need to prepare the templates. Oracle is providing those templates. We have to download and we have to go through and understand thoroughly. The same we have to explain to the business users by mapping their current system and data record, the columns. So we have to explain them which field talks about which field of their current system, so that they can provide the data within that. Once we get the data from the business, we have to convert that file into CSV. That's what we discussed here. Right, so we download a template, we prepared with the data. Now we have to convert this file as a CSV file. The same process we followed for item conversion also. Fine, so just click on generate CSV file. So place this file in the same folder. So ERP3 FBDI template you can place. So system is creating the zip file automatically. The CSV file system will place it within the zip file automatically. Okay, and it will create one additional CSV file also. Created and placed CSV file within the zip file. The additional file also it is creating with the CSV file extension. Say this file also as a save into the same folder. Okay, the confirmation is CSV file and zip file have been created. Say okay. Okay, now let's go to that folder. So here you can notice system created one CSV file and one zip file. The same CSV file you can find within the zip file. System will create two CSV files. One it will place in the zip file, other one you can see directly outside of this zip file. You can, if you want to check, you can open this zip file. Within the zip file also you can find the same CSV file. Okay, done. Now what is the next step? The next step is we have to place this file in the UCM, but that is not mandatory. Okay, we'll see how to place in the UCM other templates, other files. By bypassing that UCM process, we can directly process that. Also we can understand. So if you place in the UCM, who has access to this instance, all the people will be able to have access to this zip file. They can execute the next step, or else you may do it, but you are placing, instead of keeping that files in your local machine, you are placing in the instance environment. That's all. There is no difference. It is not mandatory. If you want to place in the UCM, you can place it and you can execute the remaining process, or without placing the UCM also you can execute. We'll test those two scenarios. Okay, done. You can close this template. Now what we are going to do, we are going to, already we converted that file as a CSV file. Now we are going to place the CSV file in the UCM account. So we know which account and all, right? Here you can notice the account is PRC supplier import. Within the UCM we have to place, since the data file is belongs to supplier data, you have to place in this account. Done. Go to instance. To place the file in the UCM, go to navigator. Under tools, go to the task called as file import and export. Okay, under tools we have a task called as file import and export. Just click on this task. Okay, from here we can place the file in the UCM. To place any data file in the UCM, you can place only zip files in UCM. You cannot place CSV files directly into UCM. So just click on upload and browse the file. Here is the file. We have to select the zip file. The CSV file selection doesn't work. Okay, select POZ supplier INT interface zip file. And this file we are placing the UCM in which account? Select that account. Which account? PRC supplier import. PRC supplier import. We are placing this file into this account. Say save and close. We placed. That's all. So this is how we have to place the CSV files into UCM account. The CSV files means not direct CSV file. The CSV files which are placed in the zip file, which are available in zip file. With the zip file format only we have to upload. Done. Now the next step. Next step is we have to populate the data in the interface tables. The data whatever we have in this CSV file, the data we have to populate in the interface tables. How to do that? Go to schedule process. Under tools we have a schedule processes. Schedule processes. And click on schedule new process. click on schedule new process. So 1 second. Yep. So here search for the job called as load interface file for import. The job name is load interface file for import. We are trying to load the CSV file into interface. The data what we have in the CSV file, that file data we are trying to load into interface. The job name is load interface file for import. So this is a job which we have to use, load interface file for import. Okay, we are going to load file into interface. Okay, load file into interface. Say okay. And what this process will do, it will transfer set up our transaction data file from user specified location. Which location? The UCM location. The UCM location only we have file. So what are the file we have in the specific location, within that file what are the data we have, that would be transferred to interface tables. Say okay. Now we have to tell to the system which file. We have to tell to the system the relevant import process also we have to select. So to populate the supplier header information into interface table, which job we have to use? Which job we have to use? Import suppliers. If you use import suppliers job and if you select that file, the data would get populated in this interface table. Okay, we can just populate the data into this interface table with this job by just we have to select this job and we have to select the supplier data CSV file also. We'll see that. So import process name is import suppliers. Select import suppliers. Select import suppliers. Job is import suppliers. Okay, we are trying to import the suppliers into this interface table. But where is that suppliers data? The suppliers data is available in the data file. The data file we have in the UCM. The files which we placed in the UCM all would be available from here based on the account. The supplier account, PRC supplier account, we placed the file. Here we given the import process also related to suppliers, so that relevant file will be displayed here. So this is a file we placed in the UCM. POZ suppliers. Okay, select it. That we are telling to the system, within this file we have a suppliers data and import the data into relevant interface table. That's all. Say submit. Say okay. If anything wrong with the data in this import process, it will give the relevant status and it will generate the log file and output file. So based on that you can go and correct the data within that file, and again we have to resubmit the file.
If any error or something directly, can we update the data from zip file in CSV?
GZIP file, what we have to do is, say we submitted and system identified this parameter is missing, the value is missing. Say within that file Even without providing the data for all mandatory fields also, you can save and you can convert, right? But that is just information. Say we didn't provide it. Whenever you submit to interface, in the interface level, this field will become mandatory. Now it will reject. Now what we have to do is, you have to come to this file, the additional CSV file system created, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you have to come to this sheet and say you didn't provide, now you are providing, and save it. Now what you can do is, within this zip file we have CSV file, right? Same CSV file we have.
Yes. Automatically this will get updated.
No. You have to remove this. Okay. So 1 second. What happened to this? Fine. I think I just got removed. No issues. Supply. So now this file you updated, right?
Right.
This file you can place in that that zip file. Verify. Yep. Okay. Now you just submit this file into, you place in the UCM and you submit this process.
Zip file.
Yeah, zip file only. Zip file only the process will accept. If you try with the CSV, it will reject.
Okay.
Okay, they have validation. They written just which format of file can be submitted. Okay, that's how we have. This is the process we have to follow. Okay, if anything wrong with this data file, here it will give the message. Then you can select that record. Below it will display output file, log file, and output files. Now nothing wrong with this, so everything went fine. So everything and anything, just it will show the log file and output files. It will generate and it will show below. Okay, that's how you can find out. Done. So now we have the data in the interface. If you want to see the data which is in the interface, you have to write the query. That will see, like, as I'll take you through that process also, from where you can write the queries. So once we go through that process, you can apply that logic for any data, any table, to check the data as a part of this BI publisher. Within the BI catalog, you'll be able to write the queries. I'll take you through how to write the query, how to fetch the data. Based on that, how to just take that information to report definition also I'll show you. Okay. So for now, just try to understand. We just place the data in the interface table. Now what is the next step? Now we populated data in the interface table. Now we have to import it to base tables. To import the data into base tables, you have to run the same job. Okay, import suppliers. Now data, whatever the data available in the interface, this will be imported to base tables. So if you try to submit the job from here itself once again, it will fetch the same previous job name. If you try to click on schedule new processes, it is fetching the same job name. But we don't need to submit this again. So what you can do is you can refresh this page navigation. Again, you can go to schedule process so that the page would get refreshed. The catch, it will remove. So now you can submit the fresh job. Click on submit new process. Now data is there in the interface table level, so that we are trying to import it to base table. Say import suppliers, search. So which job we required? Import suppliers. Here is the import suppliers job. Select it. So 1 second. Import suppliers. Say okay. What this job will do? It creates or updates suppliers from the from data in the supplier open interface. The data which is available in the supplier open interface, based on the data, it will create the supplier. Or else if the data is belongs to update action within the spreadsheet, it will update existing data. That's all. Say okay. Fine. Here import action. We are dealing with a new record only. We are dealing with a new record only. So we are not dealing with the rejected records. Say for example, this option you can ideally use. Say you loaded data into the application, and after loading the data, when you are trying to import, the import action is failed because some values are missing within the application. Okay, if it is missing, you may go and correct the data within the instance side. Some setup is required, that required data is some data is required. In that case, you can go and correct. So the rejected records you can select, again you can submit. So that's how it works. Say for example, you are just loading some transactional data, some payment terms, or some ship to bill to location you specified in the spreadsheet, and that is missing within the instance. In that case, data would be available in the interface, but when you're trying to import the data from interface to base tables, that may fail. The process may fail. In that case, if you go and correct the data within the instance, so you say you added that ship to address or bill to address, some payment terms or some other record, data record related information. In that case, the rejected records, again if you want to resubmit the data which is available in the interface with the status called as rejected, those you can select and you can submit. Now we are going to submit the fresh records, not rejected records after correction. So you can select a new or all. If you select all, the rejected records and new records, it will try to import once again. Now anyway, we are dealing with a new record only. Just say submit. Say okay. Just keep hitting on this refresh icon to see the latest status of each job and child job. Import suppliers. Okay, done. You could see the status has succeeded. Now this supplier you can see from the instance. We'll open one more tab. Fine. Now go to supplier dashboard, suppliers, and here if you scroll little down, here you can see suppliers with incomplete setup. We can see the supplier which we loaded to spreadsheet. ERP tree, FBDI supplier. This supplier doesn't have any address, no address. Okay, and how we create a supplier? Creation sources import. When we did creation date today. Okay, Jan 3rd, 2019. Same. Just now we did the same. You can see here. You can click on this name. It will show the profile definition. Click on that name. So system created profile. So there are many other tabs. You may update the data how you require, or else the same data you can keep in the spreadsheet. The same will be updated. You can click on edit to change anything. Okay. Now we need supplier name. When you are creating the supplier address, the address for which supplier we have to specify. So that is the reason I am copying the supplier name into notepad. Okay, done. So supplier profile is created with the help of that first template. Done. Now next template is supplier addresses. Same process. Okay, supplier address import template. Open this template. Same process. So click on show additional attributes. You please do it as a mandatory, otherwise there will be hidden fields, and when you are dealing with the records you may not remove, or that may create some issues. For the reason, make sure that we are aware of all the fields and which data is provided for each and every record. Just click on show additional attributes. Now we are not going to update existing supplier addresses. So the first one I am deleting, not required for us. We are going to create the address, or else you can go with the first record and you can update from, you can change the value from update to create. So batch ID anyway not mandatory. Remove it. We are going to create the address. We are going to create the address for which supplier. Okay, we are going to create address for which supplier. Provide the supplier name, which supplier is available within the instance. Otherwise, you can provide any name here. Even suppose the supplier, you may provide the name here ABC supplier. Even ABC supplier is not available within the instance. You can convert this file into CSV and you can place in the data you can populate in the interface. When you are trying to import, then the records will get failed. System will look for the supplier called as ABC to create the address. It will fail. Okay, so you want to create the address against which supplier, provide that supplier name. What should be the address name? Address name should be FBDI address, and we have to provide, when you create the address, we create a supplier address, right? So what details required, those we have to provide here also. So now we'll take that information from application itself as a reference data. From here we can navigate, click on this supplier only, click on edit, go to addresses. We are not going to create address directly within the instance. We are going to provide the address within the spreadsheet only, but just for reference data purpose we are navigating to create address. We are not going to save any records within the instance for address definition for this supplier, just for reference. So here country, if you notice country value, just you have to provide, this is a name, this is a code. Ideally in the spreadsheet you have to provide the code only, but they given USA. That is wrong. It should be US. Address line 1. Okay, just let me select it. We are not going to save this record within this instance. So address line 1, line 2, and city, state, postal code, county, and all the details we have to provide. So address line 1, line 2 are optional. You can notice here, but still we are writing some FBDI address 1, FBDI address 2. These are optional fields. Clearly you can see within the instance also. Now we'll go with the postal code. So we have to make sure that the existing values only we have to provide within the spreadsheet, since those are seeded values. And here just verify. So city, select, provide city, state. Just we are taking the reference data from the instance, that's all. Postal code, and county. Here is the county. Okay, that's all. We are going to cancel this. We are not creating address. Okay, no address created. We'll proceed with this. Just to take the reference data, we open that function. Okay, done. And go through other columns. So we don't need this facts related information. And when you create the address, the address purpose we have to specify, right? Ordering, remit to, RFQ, and bidding. The same is applicable here. Same details you have to provide. RFQ or bidding. N means no. And ordering, yes. And pay also, say yes. so that when our system will create this address, it will enable this ordering and remit to checkboxes, and go through other columns also. These are DFF columns. As a part of sample data, they're given some data within that. Just make sure that no additional data we have which we don't require. They enter some values. That's all. Okay, have a double check. So import action is just create. For which supplier we are going to create address? This supplier. Yes, this supplier already exists in the application. So this is going to be address name. The address belongs to US. These two additional fields data also you entered, even those are optional fields. And the address format, by following the format we provided city, state, county and postal code, and we specified address purpose also, that is for ordering and pay purpose. So we don't have any additional data here, we specified. If you want to provide some DFF data, first we have to enable the DFF within the application. Done. Now what is the next step? We are ready with the records. So just since we are testing, we created only an address, or else for one supplier only you may create multiple addresses, or else multiple suppliers, multiple addresses. Done. Go to this tab and convert this file as a CSV file and take into the same folder. Save. System will create one zip file, it will take CSV, and it will create one additional CSV file also. Save. Yes. Done. Now the process remains same. We created downloaded file, we prepared with the data, we converted as a CSV file. After that we have to place in the UCM. Let's ignore that UCM process. Directly we try to populate the data into interface table. Okay. This file we are not going to place in the UCM. We are directly going to populate into interface tables. Fine. We didn't create any address within the application. So refresh this navigation. So which job we have to submit? Load interface file for import. Click on schedule new process. Load interface file for import. Search. Select. Say OK. Fine. We are going to load interface data file into interface. Which data file we are going to load? Supplier addresses. Select import process as a supplier addresses. You can see the same here. Import supplier addresses. Okay. Import supplier addresses. Fine. Yes, we are going to import supplier addresses data, but where we have the data file. If data file is available in the UCM, you can find from here. But we didn't place the file in the UCM. So if you place the file in the UCM, you can find here from this parameter data file. Once you click on that, it will display. But now we don't have supplier addresses file in the UCM. So if file is not in the UCM, directly you can browse from your desktop, from our system. So for that you can go with this option, upload a new file. Since that is not available within the instance, we are just fetching from the local system. Browse. Which file is that? Supplier POZ supplier addresses. That's all. Say OK and submit. So this is the process. If you place in the UCM, you can select here. If it is not available in the UCM, you cannot find from here. we have to browse on the fly. Okay, so when you are going to provide the parameter, we have to choose. Then system will populate the data into interface table, whatever the data is available in that file. That's all. Okay, we place the data into interface table. Now we have to import the data into base tables. Which job we have to use? Same job, import supplier addresses. So refresh this page. So submit job called as import supplier addresses. So select import supplier addresses and say okay. So what it will do? The data which is available in the open interface, supplier addresses open interface, based on that it will create supplier addresses. Say okay. So there is no case where the records already rejected and we corrected and submitting. It's direct fresh record. So you can go with the option called as new only. Say okay. Now we can go and find the address for this supplier. So as of now we don't have, right? So cancel and close and reopen. You could see the address now. See, it got updated. System created address. So address we given as FBDI address, right? So you can click on edit. So this is what we given in the spreadsheet. As it is updated. These two attributes we given as a yes. The same it is enabled. So we created address. Now to create the site we need this address name. So I'm copying and making a note. When you are going to create the site, we have to tell to the system the site we want to create for which supplier and against which address. Okay, then we'll go and create the site. The process remains same. Go to site template. So here is the template, supplier site import template. Open this. You can find the sample data. Okay. Remove these additional records. Click on show additional attributes. So batch ID we don't require. What we are going to do, we are going to create the site for which supplier. Provide the supplier name. So for this supplier, copy and paste. And which procurement business unit? Let's take the same from the instance. So if you try to create site, we are not creating, just we are opening. to take reference data. So this is the business unit, right? Just make a note. Take exactly ERP3 US business unit. Now you can cancel this. We didn't create any site. So site creation time, we have to provide the business unit. So the procurement business unit provide it. We are going to create the site. That site should be against the address, right? You provide the address here. Against which address we are going to create the site? Against this address, FBDI address. FBDI address. What should be the site name? FBDI site. So site purposes, sourcing, purchasing. Okay, and the pay you can set to yes. Go through all the columns. Sourcing no, purchasing yes. It's a pay site. Pay set to yes. So primary.
Lakshman, what is the basic difference between sourcing and purchasing?
Okay, before you start with the actual core purchasing transaction, all the negotiations and all you do with that supplier.
Okay, kind of RFP,
Yes.
RFQ.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. To perform those also we need a supplier record, right? So that is the reason we create. And same site you may use for that purpose also. Still you may continue with the sourcing with the existing supplier with whom you have a transactions. So in those scenarios that you can make that is for sourcing purpose also. Fine. Okay. So go through all the columns, whatever the data you think not required for this site definition, remove that. If you think something is required, you can add it. So this is pay and receipt, means where we can create invoice or based on receipt creation. It's not required. All the attributes data we don't require, just remove. So payment currency, let it be USD. Remove not required. Anyway, whatever the data is applicable, the client will provide within the sheet. The same we have to take into application, but since we are preparing for testing purpose, just verify all the columns. Done. Okay, almost we verified all the columns, no additional data or unnecessary data we have. So what are the basic data required that we have within this template? Done. Now you can convert. You can convert this template into CSV. Take into the same folder and desktop process remains same. Now we no need to place into UCM. We have seen already how to execute the process without placing into UCM. Just refresh this page. So as of now we don't have any site, right? We have a profile, supplier profile. Against that we have an address. If you go to sites, no site is created. We are going to load that site information. So what is a common job we have to submit? Load interface file for import. For any data conversions, this is a common job. Load interface file for import. So what data we are trying to populate in the interface table? Sites data, right? For sites, what is the job name? Import supplier sites. Import supplier sites. Import supplier sites. We don't have a data file within the UCM, so directly we have to browse, upload a file, supplier sites file, POZ supplier sites, select and submit. Okay, completed. That means data is populated in the interface table. The same we have to import into base tables. Just refresh this page and submit import supplier sites job. Import supplier sites. Say okay. Yes, all new records only. Submit. Okay. Okay, done. Now we can go and find site against this address. Just click on done and reopen. That should reflect. Manage suppliers. Find supplier. Click on edit. So already we created profile and address. Now we have to check sites. This site is created by system. The template process. When click on edit, you can see the site definition. So this is the name we given, right? FBDI site. We specified these three attributes only. So that's how site is created. Just make a note of this site. When you are going to do the site assignments, the site name is required. If you go to assignments, this site is not assigned to any business unit. Okay, we'll do this through spreadsheet. We'll close this site template. Other template is site assignment template. Here is the site assignment template, supplier site assignments import template. Okay, just remove the sample records except one. Click on show additional attributes. Batch ID we don't require. So we want to assign site belongs to which supplier. So this supplier, take the supplier name. Yes, which site we want to assign? FBDI site. And that is belongs to which procurement business unit? This procurement business unit. You want to assign to which BU? Specify to which BUs you want to assign. Client and bill to BUs. Done. And ship to location and bill to locations are optional. If you already created within the instance ship to bill to, then you provide the same information. We don't want to calculate withholding tax, etc. Just verify site level information. Done. Now convert this file into CSV.
If you provide ship to bill to here, automatically it won't get created?
No. See, location creation we know, right? When you are creating location, you have to provide other fields. Here just
Yeah.
name. Only just that is a dependency. Now you can provide the name here. You can save this file, and you can place into interface also, right? When we place the data in interface, it won't have any check with the base tables setup data, right? When you try to import from interface to base, it will fail. When it fails, it will create the log file. Then you can go and create those ship to bill to locations which you have given in the spreadsheet. Then you can resubmit. There you can select the option called as instead of new rejected records. We are trying to reload. That's it.
Got it. Thank you.
So then we created a file. Now we have to place this file in data into use directly interface. No need to place in the UCM, not required. Directly you can take into interface. So refresh this page to perform that schedule process. So the common job is load interface file for import. Now based on the data, we have to select the process name. What we are trying to load or import, the data which belongs to supplier site assignments. Import supplier site assignments. You don't need to type exact name. So this is a job which we require. Import supplier site assignments. And where we have that site assignment related data. We don't have any UCM. Select which is in our local machine. So supplier site assignments. Here is the file. POZ site assignments interface. Say OK. Submit. Now we are trying to populate the data in the interface table level. Once this is successful, we have to import it to base tables. Yes, we can see the status as succeeded. I'll just refresh this page. Now you can submit the direct job called as import supplier site assignments. Wait for a second. Yeah. Import supplier site assignments. Say OK. Click on OK and submit. Okay, done. The job completed. Now you can go and check it. Just will reopen this so that that would get updated. Click on edit. Go to sites. Click on edit. Go to site assignments. Now you can see this site is assigned to this business unit. So the same we did in yesterday's session by following the manual process. Okay, so we created supplier profile, address, site, and site assignment. The same you can do through this FBDI process. Anyway, this is a process which we use at the time of implementation for conversion purpose. So that's all about.
So Lakshman, is there any other process which business can use for bulk upload? Let's say if they want to create, let's say, 50 or 60 suppliers, not as part of conversion, but as part of the regular work. So is there any other process, or is this the only process they have to use?
No, see, to load the bulk suppliers data into the system, this is option is available, and this process can be automated by using the SOA, where you can just build a interface between third party and your purchasing application to get that supplier information from that system to this targeted purchasing application. In that process also, for that automation also, these templates only can be used by technical people. That means they'll just do the mapping where data will be fetched from that source system, and that would be placed in these templates, and rest of process which we are running through manually one by one, step by step, that they automate, they schedule. That's how this can be executed. For supplier load,
Okay.
these are the templates we use. Those you can use at the time of conversion as a one-time task, or else as an ongoing process also. All the time you have a practice of creating the suppliers and approving, etc., from other system. Finally, you want to take those suppliers information into Fusion purchasing application or Fusion payables application, so that
Yeah.
process can be integrated. But in that process also, you can use the same templates for automation. Yep.
Okay.
Fine. Any other questions on this, please?
While getting the supplier profile, tax supplier field is there, right? Can you explain what is the significance?
See, it's all about based on that supplier profile, whether tax is applicable or not, etc. All we have to provide here.
But that is mandatory.
Not mandatory. Tax country, it's optional field. Okay, this you can specify after creating the supplier also.
I'm talking about tax organization type.
So tax organization type. See, it may not be a tax, may not be applicable, but what type of organization that is. Why they given the label name as a tax organization? The reason is the organizations are classified based on that classification, only tax would be applicable, right? For partnership and individual, government agencies, foreign partnership, based on this classification only that tax is applicable for the organization. That is the reason the naming convention for the field they given as tax organization type, or else simply that can be organization type. You may create suppliers where tax is not applicable in that particular country. So in that case also you should call it as tax organization type only. Ideally they given as a tax organization type. Simply that is organization type. If tax is applicable, you can include the term as a tax organization type. That's all. It doesn't have any functionality. It's just a value only. It won't make any difference.
Okay, we need to fill in the template, this value.
That's all. Yes, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Fine. So we'll go more detail level for other information. Also, we'll go through related to suppliers and etc. But just to understand how to load the suppliers, these are the points we have to understand so that we can start with the transaction part. Once we get into the transaction part, we'll look into other supplier related additional information also. We'll keep working on those. Okay, done. So if you don't have any question, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow. I placed all the videos in the Google Drive since somebody removed few files, and yesterday's session and previous sessions which are pending to upload, those also I uploaded today. So only today's session video is pending to upload in the drive. I'll be uploading within maybe within 2 to 3 hours. I'll be placing the today's session video also in the Google Drive. And till yesterday, what are the classes we completed, the spreadsheet also uploaded in the drive, and along with the today's session video, I'll be placing the today the discussion related file also in the spreadsheet also in the drive itself. Apart from these, any questions from anyone, please?
So